This all started in 2008 when I had one company and I was like, money was weird and the world was weird, finance. And I said, well, I don't like to rely on one source of income. I want to have a few. Everyone's got a side hustle these days. Everyone's got something else they're doing. So I basically decided, well, I'm going to go in 3 different verticals, meaning 3 different worlds, 3 different industries, so that if something goes bad, it doesn't really affect the whole industry. So if I'm in the event business or I'm in the marketing business or I'm in the wholesale business, I mean, yes, during COVID, 2 of the 3 got affected. 1 did not, wholesale, because we were supplying retailers with the necessary items that they needed. But basically, it just came down to, hey, we have an employee that knows this, so why not just, okay, can you do this if you have an extra hour or 2 of the day or something like that?
Welcome to the show, Ryan. How you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for having me, man.
You know, it's so funny. We got just so the listeners had a little peek behind the curtain here. Ryan and I just spent the last 20 minutes trying to figure out what the heck we were going to talk about today. And not that it was about the podcast. It was whether it was a podcast or it was supposed to be something else. And both of us are just looking at each other going, what in the world is going on? Of course, you know, the power of the inbox got us to the bottom of it. And now here we are on the Buzzworthy Consultant Podcast. Thank you so much for taking your time. While we were trying to figure that out, though, you gave me a little background in what you're doing, which you're a busy guy. Can you give me, just tell the audience, like, what you're up to right now with your businesses?
Yes, thank you. So I run something called a layered company. It's a word that I coined, which basically means I have the same employees work 3 different companies. So I juggle 3 different companies, technically 4, but really 3 is full time, which is I have a wholesale business where we're in the liquidation business and buy and sell inventory that manufacturers are done with and need to get rid of. There's always inventory that just doesn't sell. So that company is called Plan B. We're the Plan B. Plan A doesn't work. We have a marketing business where we make high-end marketing material for people. We're basically corporate clients will call us. This is not consumer driven. Everything I do is B2B. We're basically they need something that will, a vehicle, some type of marketing piece that they can send out that plays their video. Yes, we put a video screen inside of basically an old-fashioned paper cardboard brochure. And then the third company is an event business where we put out about 35 events nationwide for different nonprofits and corporations. No, we don't do weddings or bar mitzvahs, but we basically do corporate events, team building events, charity runs and walks and so forth. So we're always juggling something. And my team, so if the operations person, if their title's operations, they're handling the operations for booking bathrooms for an event, to booking trucks to pick up stuff, to booking shipments with DHL to get the marketing material. And if the person's doing finance, they're doing finance for all 3 companies.
Wow. Now this is new. Now I've been around the block a couple times. I've been in business now for 19 years. I've done marketing for 1,200 companies. And know, every time I think I've heard it all, I got somebody like Ryan over here telling me how dumb I am because I have never heard of one scheduling company. Now scheduling, I can understand. You're scheduling. It's assets, time, location. Get that. Finance for 3 different companies that size, that is amazing. And operations on top of that, that is amazing. So what inspired you to try to keep one team for 3 different, they're very different. It's not like they're the same business, like through flavors of the same business. What made you even think that was possible?
Well, first of all, to make it even more confusing, we call it trifecta, where we do all 3 businesses do business with us. So that means we're getting invoicing or POing the same company for 3 different businesses. And when that happens, that confuses accounting very much so. Because we said,
especially when it's the same accounting. Yeah, it's the same accounting team. Yeah. I mean, we've heard of verticals, right? Like, so people will do is like one feeds the next, but this one doesn't sound like a vertical. Like between events and then wholesaling, and then what was the third one again? I'm sorry. Marketing. I mean, the events and marketing could totally see that there. But then
those are actually under the same DVA. Yes.
Right. Okay. So
anyway, so basically what it came down to is, this all started in 2008 when I had one company and I was like, money was weird and the world was weird, finance. And I said, well, I don't like to rely on one source of income. I want to have a few. Everyone's got a side hustle these days. Everyone's got something else they're doing. So I basically decided, well, I'm going to go in 3 different verticals, meaning 3 different worlds, 3 different industries, so that if something goes bad, it doesn't really affect the whole industry. So if I'm in the event business, or I'm in the marketing business, or I'm in the wholesale business, I mean, yes, during COVID, 2 of the 3 got affected. 1 did not, wholesale, because we were supplying retailers with the necessary items that they needed. But basically, it just came down to, hey, we have an employee that knows this, so why not just, okay, can you do this if you have an extra hour or 2 of the day or something like that? Our business does ebb and flow. It does get busy, it then slows down. It gets busy, it slows down. We have an event, it's very busy. It slows down when we're all, Christmas time and events are over. So it just depends what's happening.
Oh, I'm sure COVID was a huge hit on especially the event planning. I mean, I had folks that I knew that were just in like costume retail. I had a friend who had one of those for like 20 years, and she was starting to look at like, man, maybe I should exit. And all of a sudden, then 2020 hit, and she's like, and I'm just gonna wholesale everything out, like liquidate everything and just close the doors. I mean, she didn't own the building, so she didn't care. She's like, whatever. But she was a staple in her community for like over 20 years, and just completely wiped away in just a few months when that hit.
It is unfortunate. I mean, we actually sold one of our trucks during, because I'm like, the thing's not going to drive for 6 months and I'm paying a bill. Let's just sell and get some money for it, because car business went up actually right after that. So, I understand.
So what do you think is the most challenging part of running 3 businesses, 1 team?
I think that when somebody falls, like I said, and they say, hey, it's Bob, and I want to talk to you about this. And I go, who's Bob and what is this? I know about 18 Bobs. And then they play a game and don't want to say what. The most challenging thing I think in business today is people, because the environment has changed with the generation that we live in today, where just pre-2020, people just went to work, they did what they wanted. Now people want to stay at home, work remotely, chill out, drink coffee more, whatever. And then also the digital age. The digital world has changed things. Technology actually doesn't help business as much as they claim it does. It does in certain respects, but it makes it a little bit more difficult for others, because you have to check more boxes when you're filling out forms. And if you don't check the box right or write in the right character, it doesn't let you finish whatever you're trying to do. So it just becomes very annoying. Passwords, all that stuff. Microsoft changed just the way Outlook looks, and now I got to download this. That takes 20 minutes. It's like, let me just go back to a fax line and send someone a fax, and I'll be happy.
I love it. Very old school. Yeah. You and I are from the same generation, so I get that.
Yes.
Some people might be listening going, what is a fax machine? So
well, put us that Alex if you wanted.
There you go. Yeah. And on my dot matrix printer, please.
Yeah, sure. I still see those wherever in airports. You're like, wow, you're still using a dot matrix at the gate?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
When I was a young guy, I worked for a company called Guitar Center.
Oh, I know the place.
Okay, I was the assistant manager of the San Francisco store back in the 90s before I joined the service, and it's so funny because it was a proprietary POS and inventory management system, right?
Yes.
I was in Alaska the last time I was buying a guitar in Alaska. No sales tax, so it's always nice when I'm in there and just like, okay, grab that. And I'm watching the person use the same exact system I was using. What is that? Almost 30 years ago.
What is it? Straight with DOS?
It was pre-DOS.
Wow.
That was like, I mean, it might have used DOS, but it was black. It was monochrome.
Wow.
It was black and green.
Yes.
That was it.
That was it. Oh man. Wow.
So when you were trying to figure, so you're sitting there going, okay, I need to diversify my income streams. And you decided on 3 different ones. What did you have ties to each of these 3?
So yeah, some good question. I was born into the liquidation business, and my world started with buying out videos, VHS videos from video stores, Blockbuster Video and all that, which VHS is turning back around. Everybody loves it these days, a nostalgia thing. So all I did is I just basically pivoted and went from, okay, I'm liquidating movies from the movie studios, to now I'm liquidating everything from pillows to sheets to blankets to hair ties to nail polish to whatever. Because as they say in the retail business, a widget is a widget. So I just changed what widgets I was buying, plus people really don't buy VHS nor DVD anymore. So that's like less than 4% of my business now, meaning of what I buy and sell. Everything is everything else. So I was already doing that. And then on the side, on the weekend, I was just helping out on a volunteer basis doing events. And then basically people started like saying, hey, you seem to put on an event. Can you help me? And I was doing that. I was like, you know what? I'm going to start charging for this. So I turned a hobby, something I like to do, into a money-making business. And I don't really play golf or do anything on the weekend. So events are usually on the weekend. So I'm like, okay, I'll just do this. This is my fun little thing to do. And then the marketing business started because one of the widgets I was moving, I had to go to China for to buy. And as I was there at a show, because China, they have these shows every 5 seconds on, different new products. I saw this product and said, this is interesting. I know some people would want this. And then it morphed into something from there.
Oh, yes. No, I'm going to have to touch base with you on that one. I saw that video postcard. I don't know if it was your company or a competing company. It was a couple years ago when I saw it. And at the time I was like, this is the coolest thing, especially for like account-based marketing and the B2B side. Yeah. Because you can it's so easy now to have a camera in front of your computer and make a video. And if it's a USB, I'm sure it has a little USB jack. And you just upload your video there. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, holy smokies. That you talk about an open rate. I'm sure that's a pretty high open rate.
The success stories I've heard, like one company, did it, said, hey, we sent out to one customer and they signed a contract for $1 million. And then I was like, wow. And then another one's like, yeah, I bought one and it's a nonprofit. They're like, we got a $50,000 donation check right after we sent that to them. So it does.
Oh, that's
it works.
Amazing. Yeah, it does. I mean, if you do it right? Like if you don't try to mass produce it, I think that's one of the things that, people, in the wholesale business, it's a lot of numbers, right? You're like, okay, if I can get it at this price and then I can move this much and I get this and I don't have to sit on it too long, I make money, right? But when you're talking about like in the marketing side of things that you're talking about like the relationships and perceptions and need and pain and feelings and all these other things. So like you're really stretching your skill sets across a lot of different hemispheres, if you will. And I think that's really impressive. So congratulations on that, because there's not a lot of people who can switch gears like that. I feel like good marketers are that same, like numbers you have to be as comfortable with numbers as you are the creative side. So, if you're sitting here doing events and you're doing wholesale, marketing is going to be pretty easy for you. So that's awesome.
But every industry, every business has its difficulties, has its problems, and we don't need to sing sad songs, but it is, everyone has some extra needs in life, and you just have to adapt to that, even in every industry. I mean, every industry vertical I'm in, there's always some issue.
So what's the next one you're adding to this to make your staff even happier?
Well, we have added some warehousing. So in our wholesale business, people have asked us to do warehousing. So we have been doing some warehousing for people. Beyond that, I would actually
what you do, because you probably already use warehouses in your wholesaling.
That's the thing. We're already using it. So just, hey, you because one of our customers, again, it's always the customer, and your listener should take heed to this. Somebody's always going to ask you for something. Say yes. Just figure it out later. Like if you really want to make more money and give yourself more of a headache that will make you money, just say yes and figure it out. So a customer said, hey, I need some warehousing. Can I just store some stuff in there? Sure, here's the price. Okay, great. Here you go. Done. A year later, they're still paying rent in the place. So
nice. I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
And I would like to do something like tech next. I would love, I don't have any tentacles in tech. That's what I'd like to do.
Yes. Well, technically with your video thingamajig, it's a little bit of tech, but you're talking
more online, like, SAS type of business.
SAS, yes, definitely. Yep. And SWAS is also a good one for that too. A lot of people overlook the power of SWAS, but your wholesale and then the warehouse rentals is for the listeners here, is an example of vertical integration. And a lot of people do that. So like, I had a creative agency before I had a marketing firm. And in the creative agency, it was like having 5 different businesses under one roof. And we did have one team, right? We had the graphic design team, and we had the web development team, and the early days of social media and SEO, we had that team. We had a video department. We had a print shop. Each of these work very differently, and though it all came under the guise of marketing. So it was created. I mean, they were kind of like DBAs in their sales because we had to market them differently. Because there's people who would come to us for one thing and never realize that we did the other thing because we're
I
so
agree.
good at that. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's important for people to realize that you don't have to make different businesses like Ryan did here. He just listened to his clients who were asking literally, can I give you money for this? And when you look at what you have in front of you, does it fit within the construct of your business? Because the day that you say not really, I will push back and say that you shouldn't always say yes, because I think that young entrepreneurs, when they haven't figured out how to do the business that they went to do business for, when they say yes too much, they're always iterating, and it creates entrepreneurial poverty because they don't know how to keep up with all of the yeses they keep. I have a friend who right now has like 5 businesses because he can't say no. And all he can tell me every time he sees me is, I am so damn tired. And it's because he's always iterating instead of just getting it good and then listening. Oh, okay, now let's get that good and let's get that good. I mean, I built my creative agency over a span of 13 years, right? And then I just realized I hated it.
Well, but there's certain degrees in every business that some task or function that an owner, creator hates. I agree.
Right.
Well, that's why you just hire and you delegate that job, because overall you're looking at the end goal of the company. So, I'm sure you're about the guy that sits and wants to do the social media postings. So you hire someone.
I never was. Nope. I had a team of, we had like team of 5 that's all they did all day was make social media posts. And I was thankful for them every day they showed up for work, because the day if they didn't all show up and I had to do it, that would have been the worst day of my life.
Yeah. I completely agree. So
yes, delegation is
the key in business. It really is. And as much as I'm in sales, I'm the owner and this and that, I still try to delegate where I can, and I would love to delegate more. Although sometimes you just go, I can't really delegate that one. I'll just do it myself.
So what is your decision metrics when deciding whether to hold on to something versus just delegate it?
I think can I do it myself in about 5 seconds?
Okay.
If it takes longer than 5 seconds, then
definitely a thing. Yeah, no, the 2-minute rule is very, very common. People use it for, I think it was kind of born out of the inbox zero. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I actually got, yes.
Okay. And so part of that is that if you can't get it done in the next 2 minutes, then it gets scheduled. Right. And you're saying, if I can't get it done in the next 30 seconds, it's getting delegated.
Well, and I do that, unfortunately, not to boast, but I do that with email. So if I go through the email and you've had this and some guy sends you 4 paragraphs, I send it to my assistant. I say, you read this. I don't have time. So I'll read the first sentence and the last sentence just to see if I need to. But it's like, let someone else read all the detail, because I got to answer the other 982. So
I know. I love that. I've actually,
you can tell.
Yes, right. I've actually gone one step further, and my executive assistant reads my mail before I see it.
Oh,
and
good.
Then anything she can delegate to other people, because she, and the longer she's in my, doing it, the less I see emails. Like I think the other day I went a whole day without. I think we had to answer 1 email.
Good for you.
But it's that same concept though. Like, if I don't need to see it, it goes to whomever it needs to go to, right? Because I've been the center point of my business for so long, but now that I got an operations team and a fulfillment team and an admin team, it's like, okay, I should only be doing sales and marketing. That's as CEO, that's of a marketing firm. That's what the CEO should do, is the sales and marketing. That's
we are gifted our talent, our chip that was installed into us is, hey, we know sales, so let's do sales. So yes, we delegate. Like you have a good plan. I agree. I've thought about that, having someone else check the email, but I do too many personal emails on my email, so I can't.
That one, it was the hard. So it took me, I want to say it took me a total of 6 months to
start separating them. Right.
And separate. And now I do have a separate email that all my personal stuff is in. And if I ever see a personal, yeah, exactly. Right. And so I don't even look at my inbox anymore. Anything she needs me to see goes into the Google task list. Wow. And then I just go down the task list. And if I want to read the email, I just push that and it opens it up, and it's already archived and all the other things that needs to be done. So when I'm done with it, I just push done. and it's there, or I forward it off, or I'll give her like, hey, so the next time you see an email like this, go ahead and do this, this, and this. And then she adds it to her SOPs and we're off. I never see that kind of email again.
I love that system.
Yeah. And then when I see a personal email, I'm like, hey, so my new email is this. So you'll need to
But then do you answer those emails at night at home or during the day?
My personal emails do not get answered. I only check my personal emails before I sit down to my desk or after hours.
Got it. Okay. At home or at the office?
So I went totally virtual at the beginning of 2019. So I have a home office. This studio right here is in the middle of my home. So,
okay, good. Yeah. Okay, I like that. I've thought about that. And I know other people, including my brother, does the same thing. Hey, all this goes to my personal, all this. And I'm just like, well, I own the company name, so I'll just check the emails myself first.
Oh man. I did it what would have been doing this now so it was 18 out of the 19 years I did it exactly how you did. So it's new to me and it is the best thing. I wish I would have done. Or we even have her now looking at the COO's inbox and filtering her inbox. Because if you think about it, the time it takes for you to get through the junk is time you could be spending doing something at the C level. So my philosophy has been for the last 5 years, don't have C-level talent doing administrative work.
Right.
That's why you have administrators, right?
Got it.
Just like you don't have your creative doing accounting because it's going to take them 10 times as long to do the accounting because that's not what they're made to do. Or having an accountant trying to do, social media posts. Like they're not, it's not going to get done well. It's not going to get done efficiently. So I think that's where they're. So before we run out of time, I do want to ask, like, if somebody was just, they're starting out in business, right? And they, like you, they got successful in one thing, but then they did start looking at like, how do I diversify? How do I grow without being too one-sided? What is the first thing they should be considering? Or I'll give you, what advice would you give yourself today, that knowing what you know today, when you made that decision back then for the first time between 1 to 2 companies?
First thing, if I asked myself that 10 years earlier, I'd say invest in real estate. That's the first thing. Or the video. The second thing I would say is just make the decision to do it. The more you take on, the busier you are, as much as it sucks. It does actually make it so little things don't bother you as much. You ever heard the term, it's in movies all the time, that person needs a project. Well, when someone doesn't have a game, a project, or just does one thing, they get too inundated with all the problems. If you're juggling a lot, the problems just like go away. You don't really care. You quickly figure out how to handle it, but you got so many other problems to deal with that the little things go away. So I hope that answered it, but just deal with it and move on.